In Isaiah 53, we find a prophecy about someone who would be punished for the sins of others. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. We all, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. The passage even says that he would be led like a lamb to the slaughter. But then we get some puzzling details. For instance, in Zechariah 12, God says, "They will look on me, the one they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn son." This is God speaking, and God says that people will look at him after piercing him. How does someone pierce God and look at him? And then, oddly enough, after God says, "They will look on me," he switches to the third person and refers to the one who's pierced as him, as if there's some sort of distinction between God and the one who's pierced. I'm getting confused. We read about the angel of the Lord, who's somehow the Lord, even though he's distinct from the Lord. There's the one who was pierced, who's somehow God and distinct from God. Is there anyone who can clear this up for us? Let's check the gospel.
I always hear from Christian apologists that Isaiah 53 is referring to Jesus. So according to their point of view, Isaiah 53 is talking about the is talking about the future Messiah, which would be Jesus. Now, you don't even have to go to Jewish commentaries to disprove this. You don't even have to do that. You can just look at, there's three ways to disprove that it's talking about Jesus. One is the early church father Origen. Two is the surrounding context of Isaiah 50 to 53. And three is what the Christian scholars themselves admit about Isaiah 53. So let's go to the first point, is that what is the context of Isaiah 53? Isaiah 53, Isaiah chapter 52 and 53 is clearly talking about the nation of Israel. It is not talking about some future Messiah, or it's not talking about Jesus or some kind of future Messiah. We see this in Isaiah chapter 41, verse 8 through 9, Isaiah chapter 44, verse 1, Isaiah chapter 44, verse 21, Isaiah chapter 45, verse 4, Isaiah chapter 48, verse 20, and Isaiah chapter 49, verse 3. So if you read the context is talking about Israel, right? I mean, there's pretty much no way out here. The servant in each of the servant songs is plainly and repeatedly identified as Israel. So that's one way to disprove that Isaiah 53 is talking about Jesus or the Messiah. The second way to disprove it is by the church father Origen. Church fathers came after the disciples of Jesus, and they related some traditions that were circulating in their time, and they claimed to have apostolic. They claimed to have apostle authority or traditions with them, which obviously wasn't true. But they claimed a lot of stuff. They claimed that, or they wrote down a lot of views of their day. So they're good on information about what was being said at their time. So there's one church father named Origen, and he was in the year 248, and he admits that Isaiah 53 was talking about the Jewish people or Israel. Here's what he says. He says the Jews at his time were saying about Isaiah 53 bore reference to the whole Jewish people, i.e. Israel, regarded as one individual and as being as in a state of desperation and suffering, in order that many proselyters might be gained on account of dispensation of the Jews among the heathen nations. Uh, and I'll leave the reference I'll leave the reference on the screen. So notice what the church father is admitting. Origen, he's saying the Jews at his time were saying that Isaiah 53 was talking about the Jewish people or the nation of Israel. Now, he could have easily claimed something different. He could have said that the Jews at his time were saying Isaiah 53 was talking about the Messiah or Jesus. Origen being, a Christian or a church father, but he didn't do that. He was honest enough to admit that Isaiah 53 is talking about the Jews at his time were saying that Isaiah 53 was talking about the nation of Israel. So that's another way to debunk Isaiah 53. It's not talking about, according to the Jews after Jesus' time, they were saying that it was talking about the Messiah, or they were saying it's talking about the nation of Israel. They were not saying it's talking about the Messiah. So that's the second way to disprove it, what the church father Origen himself admits. The third way to disprove it, and I think this is the best way to disprove it, is that Christian scholars themselves, emphasis on that word, Christian scholars, who have no atheistic, liberal, or Muslim axe to grind, admit that Isaiah 53 is talking about the nation of Israel. So I think that's the death blow to any Christian apologist who claims that Isaiah 53 is talking about the Messiah or Jesus. It says the Christian New English Bible, Oxford Study Edition, annotation on Isaiah 52 to 53 explains the fourth servant song, the suffering servant, there's the important part, Israel, the servant of God, has suffered as a humiliated individual. However, the servant endured without complaint because it was vicarious suffering for others. Isaiah 52, verse 13 to 15. Nations and kings will be surprised to see the servant exalted. Isaiah 53, verse 1. The crowds, pagan nations among the servant Israel lived, speak here through verse 9, saying that the significance of Israel's humiliation and exaltation is hard to believe. Pages 788 to 789. Also see Revised Standard Bible, Oxford Study Edition, page 889. So I think, now notice what they're saying. They're admitting that Isaiah, or the fourth servant song, the suffering servant in Isaiah 52 and 53, is the nation of Israel. And Israel is the servant of God, has suffered as a humiliated individual. So that's the whole context. The context of Isaiah 53 is clearly talking about Israel. Isaiah's first three servant songs clearly identify Israel as God's servant, and the surrounding chapters of Isaiah 53 clearly speak of Israel as a suffering and humiliated individual. The nation of Israel. So, just read the context, read what the church fathers themselves were admitting, in this case being Origen, and there could be other church fathers, but even the church father Origen was admitting that the Jews at his time, at least 200 years after Jesus, were saying that Isaiah 53 was talking about the Jewish people or the nation of Israel. And Christian editors or Christian scholars themselves are admitting that Isaiah 53 is talking about the nation of Israel. So do your research and don't fall for this, stupid Christian tactics of taking things out of context and trying to claim messianic prophecy when messianic prophecy isn't there, according to their own Christian scholars are saying this. So that's three ways to disprove that Isaiah 53 is talking about Jesus or the future Messiah. Stay tuned. More videos coming up ahead.